Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to get on and I don't know, this phone is looking weird. Anyways, I want to talk about maintaining my weight. I just found out that through my lab work and everything, I am no longer pre-diabetic, which is really great news. I just feel like I've reversed everything that was going wrong in my life and, as far as my health is concerned. And I am really on a real good healthcare journey, because 2-3 years ago, this time I was like 65 pounds heavier and pre-diabetic and just a lot of stuff going on. Shortness of breath. I was getting like chest pain and all kinds of crazy stuff was going on. So I really turned my health around after I got on the GLP-1 medication back in 2022. And I am so grateful that I'm no longer pre-diabetic. The thing is now my insurance will not cover my Mounjaro anymore. So I've had a few pins left, but in the transitioning from those medications, I stopped taking the meds, and I've been instituting more to maintain my weight. I've been doing intermittent fasting, which I had been doing anyways. I've been doing that for a while, intermittent fasting, because in the past it's really been very helpful in getting my, maintaining my weight and controlling my weight. So I do like a 16-hour fast and an 8-hour window. And what I've been doing specifically within that fast is just eating 2 meals a day. I'll have a late morning or early afternoon meal, breakfast, and I try to make it very healthy. I try to stick to fruits, whole foods, vegetables, really watching the bread and the carbs. It's not that I don't eat carbs, it's just that I'm very careful about how much carbs that I take in, because I feel like the carbs really, it just converts to sugar, and it's hard to maintain your weight when you're eating a lot of carbs. So I've been sticking with a higher protein. I've been aiming for it anywhere from 60 to 100 grams of protein a day. So I always have some kind of protein with each meal. And it's just 2 meals. So I try to do a lot of protein. At least half the plate is more protein or vegetables than it is carby foods, but I try to stick to whole foods, real healthy stuff, less processed food. Am I 100% not processed? No, but I'm pretty much maintaining. In fact, I actually lost a few pounds doing this, not intentionally, although I allow myself 5-pound weight ratio. Like I won't go over 5 pounds in any. I usually stay in between 115 and 120. So over the holidays, my weight was more like 118, 119. There were a few times it actually peaked to 121. So I knew then I just scale it back down to get, I try to stay in the middle between 115 and 120. I don't like going any lower than 115, but I definitely don't go any higher than 120. So if I stay in that range, I'm pretty happy with my weight. And I've been maintaining that now right through the holidays, which is pretty amazing because, I've allowed myself to, enjoy the holidays, and I really didn't restrict myself. But the intermittent fasting has been very instrumental in keeping my weight stabilized in between that ratio of 115 and 120. And just for reference, I'm only like 5'1". I used to be 5'2" and a half. As I get older, your weight or your height kind of shrinks. But a good friend of mine had told me that it may not be that I'm shrinking. It could be the padding of your feet just melts away. You lose fat everywhere, and you don't think that you have fat in the padding of your feet, but you do. And if you're losing weight there, your height is going to shrink. I never even thought of that until she mentioned it. And so I think, and it would make sense because my shoe size used to be 7, and now I'm a 6. So I think I lost weight in my feet. So that's why my height dropped, because I'm like, I can't afford to lose any more. I wasn't tall to begin with, but now that I'm 5'1" and a quarter, basically, I just feel like, keep that in mind when you're losing weight. You're losing weight everywhere, even in your feet. So your height might drop down an inch or so. So who would have thought? But that does happen. But anyways, I've been doing the intermittent fasting. I've been watching my portion control too. And sometimes you just have to hack yourself. Like for me, I eat off of smaller plates. I don't pile it up high. I try to stay, very controlled portions. I'm not a calorie counter, so I don't count calories, but I eat regular food. I'm sort of a meat and potatoes girl, so I'll eat regular food, but I just make sure that I don't eat a huge portion of it. And I also try to fill up on the protein and the vegetables first before I move into like the more carby, starchy foods. Because you just have to trick yourself. Like in the morning, I might have bacon and eggs. But what I do is when I get the packet of bacon, I cut it in half. I cut the whole packet in half. And what I'll do is I'll just take a slice from that half and I'll cook like 4 strips of those little bit of bacon. And what it does to me, for me anyways, it hacks me into thinking I'm eating 4 slices of bacon, but I'm really just eating 2. So even though bacon's not the greatest food in the world, at least I'm cutting back. I'm not eating like 4 long strips of bacon. I'm just eating actually just 2 pieces because they're cut in half. So I do things like that to hack myself, really, just managing my own weight that way by tricking myself and thinking I'm eating 4 slices of bacon, for instance, but it's really 2. It's just little things like that I do. And also I've slowed down on my eating. I feel like I give myself a good 25 minutes to eat my meals. Because what I did in the past is I would eat it too fast and it didn't give a chance for my body to recognize fullness. So what I've done now is slow it down. Sometimes I'll just stop eating in the middle of my meal and give myself some time to digest and then continue eating. What that has done is given my brain the signal that I'm getting full. Because in the past, I think I just ate too fast I wasn't consciously eating. And by the time I'm done with my plate, I feel like I'm still hungry and I would go for seconds. And now, since I've slowed down on my eating, by the time I finish my meal, I don't have a desire to get a second portion. Because finally my gut signals my brain that I'm full. And that has been working really well for me. Because really, if you want to get in a caloric deficit, which is the goal, if you want to lose weight or maintain, you got to eat. It's really a numbers game for me. Just be mindful of how much. We don't realize how much we eat, especially the American diet. I mean, our portion sizes are so off the Richter scale. We're just eating too much at one time. And so I've learned to first slow down, watch my portions, and definitely fill up on the foods that give you more satiation, like, protein and even fat, the good fat. Because I don't think fat spikes your insulin level, nor does protein spike your insulin level like carbs and sugar does. So definitely fill up on those types of foods as opposed to just going for the rice and the mashed potatoes. Let your body have the protein first. That way it'll slow down the absorption of the other foods you eat after it. And eat slow and eat small portions. And give yourself just an 8-hour window. I think intermittent fasting has been the best hack for me. Maybe some people can't do it, and I understand that. Not everything is for everybody, but for me, it's been a wonderful hack to not overindulge during that 8-hour window. Just eat two, and I omitted any snacking as well. That is my downfall. And I try to end my meals between 6 and 7 o'clock in the evening every day. Now, a lot of times if I'm going out with friends, that might not be possible, but I definitely, for most days of the week, because I'm not going out every night, but most days of the week, I try to end my last meal at 6 o'clock. And that has been really wonderful because I sleep better. I notice I sleep better, and I wake up and I have a flat belly. So I feel like that whole 16 hours, my body is just digesting that food the way it should be. And in that 16 hours too, your body has a chance to work on other aspects of your physique, because you really shouldn't be eating around the clock. I know a lot of people, that's one of the reasons why I didn't do Optavia. Their methodology is to eat every 2 to 3 hours. And I feel like, I feel like that's too much on the system to constantly be eating and eating and eating around the clock. I feel like that taxes your insulin, your pancreas. When does your body get a break from eating every 2? I don't think we're meant to eat every 2 to 3 hours. Personally, I think that's been debunked many years ago anyways, this eating every 2 to 3 hours. I think you should just have a window of time to eat and a window of time to fast. I think our bodies do so much better that way, personally. At least for me, it does. I don't feel like I need to be eating around the clock. I don't think it's good for your body. The other thing I've been doing too is I no longer do any really hard workouts. Because for me, working out hard means you're going to be hungrier later. So I stick to Pilates. I do a lot of walking. I just invested in a weighted vest. Probably in my next video, I'll show you what that vest is and how I utilize it. But a weighted vest, because now that my body's smaller, I want to trick my body into thinking that it's heavier by putting on a weighted vest, and it helps build your back muscles, your chest, your arms. It just gives you more calorie burn because you're carrying more weight. I think I got a vest that goes up to 20 pounds of a weighted vest. And you can get it on Amazon, TikTok, or whatever you prefer. But I think it's a great investment, a weighted vest, because, I'm not the best at lifting weights all the time, but if I have a weighted vest on and I go for my walks, or if I'm lifting weights with the weighted vest on, it just helps. It helps with your physique. It helps keep you tight. Because, when I lost all my weight, I was left with a lot of loose skin. So I ended up getting a tummy tuck and a breast lift, just to get some of the excess skin off of me. And so I maintain that by, using walking and Pilates and doing a lot of classes at this gym. I do the sauna, the steam room. Those things actually help as well. And I drink a lot of water. I have a Stanley cup that I fill up at least 2 to 3 times a day. And I just drink water, I don't drink, don't drink your calories. Try to stay away from really high caloric drinks like Starbucks, those really delicious drinks. They're full of fat and sugar. And you're consuming so many calories just drinking. I'd rather eat my calories than drink them because you're more satiated. And there's so much hidden sugar and processed stuff in those drinks anyways. You're just better off, just drinking water or tea or coffee. I've no longer put sugar in my coffee for the last year, 2 years, I think. It took a while for me to get used to that because I was one of those people that my coffee was basically a milkshake, the way I was drinking. I was sweet and light. Because that's what my palate wanted, I was, I got a sugar addiction, and I realized that. So I knew I had to do something about that. And probably the reason why I was pre-diabetic, I was just consuming too much sugar and processed foods. Because, diabetes to me is just a pure metabolic disorder. It's, you can reverse it. You can hack this system. And I utilized the GLP-1 medication because at the time, that's what I needed. And I'm grateful for it. But now that I'm off of it now, I have to maintain a certain lifestyle that will continue my weight loss journey or maintaining my weight loss, because God knows I don't want to go back to being 180 some pounds and being 5'1". That was just too much on my body, and it really was affecting me breathing wise, my heart. Just diabetes is just one of the worst diseases you can get, because it starts attacking your end organs, your eyes, your kidneys, your periphery, your extremities. You risk losing, your toes, feet. It's a horrible disease. So if you're in that pre-diabetic stage or diet, you can, this encouragement here, you can reverse it, but it takes a lot of effort. And this is why I never understood why people who struggle with obesity and they're diabetic or pre-diabetic, the doctors aren't aggressive and prescribing the GLP-1s, because they really are effective in reversing diabetes more than anything. They even say that a lot of these drugs are helping with addiction. Like, you just lose the cravings for sugar, but you also lose cravings for drinking, alcohol. It just minimizes a lot of things. So much research has to be done. I mean, a lot of people hear all the negative stuff, but these drugs really have been very helpful with other illnesses besides diabetes, specifically addiction issues. So I'm all for, sex, drugs, and rock and roll, baby. That's what I'm all for. And you do what you got to do to get healthy. So yeah, these are the things that I've been doing. I've the intermittent fasting, the portion control, eating within that window of time, 2 meals, heavy on the protein, still have my carbs, but it's a controlled intake of carbs, and enjoying life, being active daily, walking, Pilates, things that I actually know that I can stick with, lift weights to keep, your metabolism burning even more, because muscle mass is much more higher metabolically burning. So you can almost get away with eating a little more when you have more muscle on you, because muscle requires a lot of energy to maintain. So go for the weighted vest, the strength training and all that stuff, and you will stay thin. Like I said, I've been staying within my 5-pound radius, especially during the holidays, where it's very hard to, back in the past, I could gain 5 to 10 pounds between Halloween and January because of the holidays, between Halloween, candy, and then Thanksgiving, we're overindulging, and then right into Christmas. And then, of course, you're drinking more because you're celebrating, you're out with friends more. So, alcohol is straight up, sugar. So you're never going to burn any fat drinking a lot. So everything has to be, I have to control myself, because it's so easy to see that weight creep up, But I feel good about myself that I've maintained that 5 pound radius between 115 and 120. If I ever go down below 115, I start looking a little too thin, too sickly. And personally, I think you need a little more weight to help combat being cold all the time, because that was another thing with me. I was cold because I have no fat, hardly have any the same amount of fat I had before. So I'm always a little cold. So I try to keep my weight within that 115, 120. And, you know, it doesn't make much difference in my size, but I could tell. It's funny how when you lose weight and you're smaller, when you gain a pound or two, you can feel it more than when I was like gaining a pound when I was like 160 or 170 pounds. You lose two or 3 pounds, you don't really notice it. But when you're smaller, you notice it, because 2 pounds can show up, you know, in my gut, in my face. You just feel puffier. You feel more, your fingers, your rings are tighter. You just notice it a little more. So I use the scale, and I use how I feel as a barometer to make, you know, to rein it in. The scale to me, even though I'm not a slave to it, I do use it to keep myself accountable. That way, when I know my weight is going up, I know that I have to rein it in. And I'm telling you, it's a lot easier to lose 2 or 3 pounds than to lose 10, 15, 20, 25, and so forth. You know, mentally, I can deal with 3 pounds, but when it starts getting into double digits, you know, and it's very easy, if you're not paying attention, it's very easy to revert back. And before you know it, you're 20, 25, 30 pounds heavier. And it's just so hard, especially as you get older. It's just so hard to get it off. So once you do get it off, you want to keep it off. And, you know, look at other videos too of people. Look at other videos that keep you motivated, that keep you on task. Because that's what I do. I go on videos and watch other YouTube social media accounts and how they maintain their weight, and I get inspired by that. And that's what you have to do. You constantly have to stay inspired. You constantly have to you know, wear your clothes, monitor your weight, watch, you know, your body, and try to check in with your body and how you're feeling. Because now's the time to do it. You know, I live in the Northeast, so it's cold up here, it's snowy, and it's very easy to just hibernate and sit on your couch all day and watch TV. And, you know, you got to know you got to really constantly hack yourself. When I'm sitting there watching a movie, sometimes it'll be, oh, I need a snack. And then you got to really check in. Am I hungry, or I'm just in a pattern of behavior where in the past, when I watch a movie, I always want to nibble on something, even though I'm not really hungry. You got to really check in with yourself. And when those days when I feel like I'm really hungry, my dangerous times are usually between 6 p.m., actually 4 or 5 p.m., and up until 10. I get very hungry during that period. But what I notice, at least for me, again, I will just ignore the hunger. Do your best to ignore it as much as you can. Drink some water, have some tea, but don't eat anything that's caloric filled. Just ride it out. Within 2 to 3 hours, I have found that hunger goes away. So you know, there's these just certain things you have to push through, because my appetite has increased since I've stopped the medication. So I knew that once I stopped, I knew my hunger was going to increase. So you got to have a plan of action to be able to deal with those hunger signals. But ride it out as much as you can. And then within 2 or 3 hours, that hunger goes away. For whatever reason. Maybe it takes time for my own hormones to kick in to my brain to signal, you don't need to eat. You ate enough. You had a nice 2 full meals, you know, and I eat healthy, but I eat enough calories to sustain me. For my body and my basal and my weight and age, I should be eating to maintain anywhere from 1,600 to 1,800 calories a day. That's just to maintain. To lose, I would have to go a little lower. But I'm not interested in losing. I am just interested in maintaining my weight. So, yeah. So let's take a look at how I'm doing. I just want to do a physical, sorry about the lighting. It's kind of crazy, but just want to do a quick update on where I am at physically. I don't know if you can see. This is not the best angle. Let me try somewhere else. Got this thing sticking. And my lighting is really off. It's like a hazy, I don't know what that's about, but I just want to update you on how I look. Let's see. You can see I'm maintaining well. I'm not rail thin, but that wasn't the goal to be rail thin. It's just to be comfortably, my size for my height. Hope you can see. This is not the best, but yeah, there. Completely flat. Arms are smaller. There I go. And that's it. So awkward to do this. But yeah, those are my tips. Those are my tips and my hacks for me to maintain my weight. I know a lot of you, feel inspired by this, and I'm so happy for that, because I do want to encourage people, especially people who have been big before and now are smaller. The biggest fear, my Roman Empire at this point, is gaining my weight or being skinny and maintaining it, because I don't want to go back to where I was. So I am doing everything I can to maintain my weight and stay healthy. So yeah, so that wraps up this video. So you guys take care, have a great week, and I'll see you next week on my next video. Bye.